Between the news and our busy lives, staying grounded instead of feeling overwhelmed can really be a challenge. Dr. Holly McKenna with Dara Wellness is joining us now to help us with a few tips on how to stay grounded and continue enjoying life and being appreciative that we're here. And it can be hard sometimes when the news and everything else starts to weigh you down. So why are people feeling this way? Why does it affect us so much?
Yeah, so they're really, as we know, everyone knows there's a lot going on in the news right now. There's a lot coming at us every day. And our brain is actually programmed to look for danger and for things to keep us safe. So we're already prone to look for those things. Like you learn as a child, don't touch the hot stove. That's why we're programmed that way. But then when we have all these headlines coming at us all the time and triggering that fear response, you basically go into a chronic stress response. And that turns into what a lot of us are feeling, which is that irritability, that difficulty with sleep, that difficulty with just kind of feeling amped up all the time and not being able to kind of settle. It's hard to focus. And then, as parents, we find ourselves snapping at our kids or at our spouses or loved ones. And that doesn't feel good either, because that just adds to the stress.
But, we were talking about it. It's also difficult. You don't want to turn everything off and not listen to any news. There are people who that is their way of coping. I'm going to go into I don't know if it's an echo chamber or just a cave or what, but they're just not going to listen or hear any of it. And that may not be the right thing to do either.
Right. Yeah. There's a need, I think, to witness what's happening. I think as humans, that's important. And I don't think it serves us to pretend things aren't happening around us. But there are ways to do that you can still have some self-preservation. And that's your own way of, having self-care, care for your family. That's how you can stay well to be present for those who need your support.
Sure. So exactly. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of everyone else. That's a great point. What are some ways that we can take care of ourselves? Is it maybe turning off, all the headlines? The social media can really, really get to you too, because it's just rapid fire.
Yeah, that doom scrolling, it really does feed the brain with that dopamine that our brain is seeking.
Sure.
But the problem is then you find yourself kind of looking at it for an extended period of time, and it just amps you up, right? You start, if you notice, that's one way to start, is if you are looking at your phone, maybe you went with the intention of looking at kittens.
Of getting groceries or
whatever. And then things started coming up, right? And then you find your heart rate going up, you find your blood pressure going up, you're stressing out, that's when you need to take a break. That's when you need to take a step back and give yourself some breaths. Give yourself some time away, maybe step outside to ground yourself. I think it's also important too, outside of that, to put some boundaries around the scrolling.
Okay.
Because again, it's so easy to kind of fall into that. So whether you say, okay, I'm only going to check the news from this time to this time, once a day, or at most twice a day. I would even limit it to this part of the house or in your office, or, so it's really, there's a boundary around it. Not in bed, not before you go to sleep, not first thing when you wake up. Please don't do that. That's not a good way to start the day.
That is how I end and start every day.
I know, I've been there. That's why I'm saying it. So, but to really put boundaries around that, and then you can even use the electronic to have a timer, 20 minutes max if you're going to be looking. And honestly, I would even take a step back and say, why am I about to open up this social media app and scroll? What is my intention?
Give yourself a purpose before you go into it, and then when you're done with that,
do I want to see what the best king cake is and figure that out? Is that my goal for these 20 minutes? Or do I want to update myself on what's going on in the world? That's okay too, but again, set the timer and then pay attention to your physiological response. Like, is my heart rate starting to go up? Am I starting to feel anxious? Like, this is a sign
social media,
to take a step back.
A sign that the news that you're reading may not be coming from a legitimate source either, if it's making you feel very, very amped up. Dr. Holly always has the best tips. Thank you so